Welcome on Advanced Chemistry School. This is Sumit Kumar Gupta, and as we have already discussed that we will discuss NMR spectroscopy. Today I am going to start NMR spectroscopy. So on this lecture we will understand what is the NMR spectroscopy and what are the problems we are going to understand in this module. Okay. So what is my course plan for this course? I have already discussed with you. So today I will start from spectroscopy. So whenever we talk about NMR spectroscopy, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy is a type of a spectroscopy, is a one type of a spectroscopy. There are lots of type spectroscopy. We talk about electronic spectroscopy, we talk about rotational spectroscopy, vibrational spectroscopy, rotational vibrational spectroscopy. There are several types of spectroscopy. So NMR spectroscopy is just one type of spectroscopy. So we need to understand what is the spectroscopy. So whenever we talk spectroscopy, it's mean we are talking about the light matter interaction. When the light falls on matter, how matter responds to that light, that is the study, that is the phenomena, is the spectroscopy. So this is matter, this all matter, this all is matter, this all is matter, this all is matter. Okay, so how this matter will respond for this incoming light? This is light, this is light, and this is matter. How this matter is responding to this incoming light? Study of this phenomena is a spectroscopy. So we need to understand in spectroscopy that how light is interacting with matter, and how, or we can say that how matter is responding to incoming light. Okay, so this study is a spectroscopy. So okay, so if we talk about that spectroscopy, in a spectroscopy we need to understand two terms. In a spectroscopy we need to understand one, that is light, second, that is light. Actually spectroscopy is a light matter interaction, so we need to understand what is the light, what are the characteristic of light, and we need to understand the properties of matter. How, if we don't know about the matter, how we can know how light is interacting matter, or okay. So understanding of light matter is a first primary need to us to understand NMR spectroscopy. Okay, so if we talk about light, light is a electromagnetic radiation. We will discuss light and matter individually. So first come to light. Light is a electromagnetic radiation. Light is a electromagnetic radiation. Light is a electromagnetic radiation. Is a electromagnetic radiation. What is the mean of electromagnetic radiation? The mean of electromagnetic radiation that it has oscillating electric as well as magnetic field. It's mean electromagnetic radiation, it will have electric field as well as magnetic field, both are oscillating field. So in three coordinate system, let this is a three coordinate system, let this direction is z, this is x, and this is y. Okay, this is the three coordinate system. So whenever we talk about electromagnetic radiation, it's mean we are considering oscillating electric field or oscillating magnetic field. So if this is a direction, this is a direction of light, this is a direction of light, this is a direction of light. Okay, so if this is the direction of light, it's mean it will have a electric field as well as magnetic field. So if oscillating, this is oscillating electric field, mean this is the direction of at every time this is the direction of, this will be the direction of electric field. Okay, so this direction is a electric field direction. This is a electric field direction. Okay, and light has both electric field and magnetic field. So if it has a magnetic field also, so it is oscillating like that in z direction. So this is direction of magnetic, this is direction of magnetic field. So electromagnetic radiation is a oscillating electric and magnetic field. So oscillating and electric field both are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so if this direction is the propagation of direction of light, so if this is a direction of propagation of light, this will be the electric field or magnetic field, or this will be electric field or magnetic field, vice versa. It's mean the direction between electric field and magnetic field and direction of propagation will be 90 degree. Okay, will be perpendicular. Okay, this is the electromagnetic radiation. So first thing which we need to understand, how we will characterize the electromagnetic radiation. So if we talk about electromagnetic radiation, we will talk about energy of electromagnetic radiation. We will talk about the energy of light. We will talk about the frequency of light. We will talk about wavelength of light. So if we are talking about electromagnetic radiation, so it's mean we are talking about energy of radiation, energy of light. We are talking about wavelength of light. Okay, these are all are the parameters to understand. Okay, first one, if this is the electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so first thing is wavelength. Wavelength. Okay, so distance between two same successive point on this electromagnetic radiation. This is this point, and after that same point. Same point, I mean, if I am talking about same point, it's mean the property at that point, electromagnetic radiation has same property. For at this point, it is going up, coming down, and this and this. So this is the point where electromagnetic radiation going up, and this, and also from this point, this is. So this point 1 and point 2 are same. Okay, so distance between point 1 to point 2 is the wavelength represented by lambda, or between any same point, any two same point, any same 2 point. This is lambda, this is the wavelength. Okay, so we will characterize electromagnetic radiation in terms of energy. First thing, energy of electromagnetic radiation, this will be h nu. First thing, characterization of radiation of light. So this is the E h nu. H is the Planck's constant. H is Planck's constant. It has a value 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 34, and nu is the frequency. Nu is the frequency of radiation or frequency of light. Okay, so this is the energy of radiation. H nu is equal to h is Planck's constant, has a constant value. Nu is the frequency of light. Okay, so second thing which we need to understand, what is the frequency of light. The frequency of light is passing a number of wave passing through a certain point is in per second is a frequency. So unit is second inverse. secant inverse. So we need to understand what is the relation between wavelength or frequency. So this is the relation between all parameters. We will characterize our electromagnetic radiation in 4 terms: wavelength, we will talk about wave number, we will talk about frequency and velocity. And every electromagnetic radiation has a constant value, constant velocity 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Okay, so this is the relation. These are the relations between frequency, wave number, and wavelength. So lambda is a wavelength, and it has a relation. It is a reciprocal of wave number. This is a 1 upon nu r. Nu r is and c upon nu. And unit for wavelength will be meter, micrometer, and nanometer. So 1 micrometer is equal to 10 to the power minus 6 meter. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power minus 9 meter. Okay, this is the unit. These are the units for wavelength. Second point, wave number. Wave number is a reciprocal of wavelength. So nu r is equal to 1 upon lambda. Lambda is equal to c upon nu. So lambda will be nu upon c. So what will be the unit for wave number? Nu r is a reciprocal of lambda. Lambda has a unit of meter, centimeter, or it may be nanometer, micrometer. So this will be meter inverse, centimeter inverse, micrometer inverse, nanometer inverse. So whatever we want. Okay, say third is a number of third is a frequency. Frequency is a number of wave passing through a certain point in per second. Okay, so this is the nu has a unit of secant inverse, or it can be represented as hertz. So nu is equal to c upon lambda. 1 upon lambda is equal to nu r is the wave number. So 1 upon lambda is equal to nu r. So nu will be c nu r. Fourth is the velocity. Velocity of electromagnetic radiation will be constant. It has a value of 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So c is equal to relation between frequency and wavelength. The product of nu and lambda will be constant, 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 for electromagnetic radiation. So c is equal to nu upon lambda. Lambda is the reciprocal of wave number. So lambda will be 1 upon nu r. So c is equal to nu upon nu r. And unit for velocity will be meter per second inverse. These 4 parameters will characterize our electromagnetic radiation. Okay. So this is a spectrum. So if we talk about electromagnetic radiation, we talk about light. Light is electromagnetic radiation. So light has a large range of wavelength or frequency. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum. It starts from radio wave to gamma ray. Gamma rays from left to right. This is from left to right. We are talking about this spectrum from left to right. This is a radio wave. From this to this we have a 1 meter, 1 millimeter, 1 micrometer. What is its mean? We are representing this with respect to wavelength. Its mean we are talking about wavelength. So from left to right, this is a 1 meter, 1 millimeter, 1 micrometer, 1 nanometer. Its mean wavelength is decreasing from left to right. Wavelength is decreasing. Okay, wavelength is decreasing. We know that E is equal to h nu or Sc upon lambda. Okay, so nu is equal to c upon lambda. So E is equal to h nu, or we can write it's Sc upon lambda. Okay, so its mean energy. Energy is directly proportional of nu, and energy is inversely proportional of lambda. from left to right, wavelength is decreasing. It's mean the energy, energy is decreasing, energy is decreasing on going from left to right, from left to right. Okay, so energy, radio wave will have minimum energy, after that microwave, after that IR, and this is the visual range which is responsible for our see, and this is the ultraviolet light, this is the X-ray, this is gamma rays. So gamma rays has a very much high energy. So on this module we are going to discuss NMR spectroscopy. So the range of 1 meter to 10 to the power minus 1 meter, this range is responsible for NMR spectroscopy. This range is responsible for NMR spectroscopy. So in NMR spectroscopy we are going to use this type of light which has given range of wavelength. Okay, this light is responsible for NMR spectroscopy. This was complete spectrum. In microwave in microwave region we have a different spectroscopy. In IR we have different spectroscopy. Visual light we have different spectroscopy. So whenever we will talk about other spectroscopy, we will talk range corresponding to them. Okay, so this was complete spectrum, and energy from left to right is increasing and wavelength from left to right is decreasing. So relationship between energy and frequency or wavelength is equal to SC upon lambda. Okay, so this was all about light. So spectroscopy basically is a study of light matter interaction. So we till now we have discussed what is the light. Light is electromagnetic radiation and how we will characterize, and what is the range which we are going to use for NMR spectroscopy. Second terms is the matter. What is the matter and how it will interact with incoming electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so light. Second point is the matter. Everyone know that matter has made of lots of atoms, and atoms combine to form molecules. So one thing is that one thing in our favor is that we don't need deep knowledge for quantum mechanics at this level. Okay, so if we know surfacial quantum mechanics, we will able to understand what are the phenomena for NMR spectroscopy. Just as all us know that that energy level in matter or in atom or molecules are discrete energy level, not a continuous form. So matter. So if we talk about matter is a collection. Matter is a collection. Matter is a collection of molecules. Okay, it is a collection of molecules, and everyone know that if we talk about molecules is a bonding between atoms. There are atoms and they are combining with each other and forming a molecules. So according to quantum mechanics, if we talk about quantum mechanics, what are the theory for bonding between atoms to form molecules? There are two theory. One which is valence bond theory, and second one is a molecular orbital theory. So we are going to discuss here molecular orbital theory. So according to molecular orbital theory, molecules are a collection of nuclei and electrons. After forming a molecule, there are no individual atoms, there are no individual atomic orbitals. Okay, so after forming a molecule, there are nuclei and there are molecular orbitals. So according to molecular orbital theory, molecules are the collection of nuclei. For example, we have AB heteronuclear diatomic molecules, there will be nuclei, of atom A and atom B, and there will be electron density, around nucleus. There will be electron density around nucleus. So in matter, according to molecular orbital theory, if we are talking about matter, we are talking about the collection of nuclei and collection of electrons. This is matter. Okay, this is matter. Matter is a macroscopic parameter. Parameter. It is the collection of lots of nuclei and lots of electrons. So if we are, for example, if we are talking about a simple one molecule, okay, this is a simplest one molecule, and there is a incoming electromagnetic radiation. So a study of spectroscopy is a study of this light and the matter, a molecule, how this molecule is responding to for this incident light is a spectroscopy. So first thing, we need to understand that matter or molecule is a collection of nuclei and collection of electrons. So according to quantum mechanics, we all know that there are lots of discrete energy level. If we talk, for example, I am talking a simple energy level diagram. These are electronic energy levels. This is a ground state electronic energy level. This is a first excited energy level. This is second excited state energy level. This is third excited state energy level. Every electronic energy level have a lots of vibrational energy level. Okay, these have lots of vibrational energy level. These all nu are 0, nu 1, zeroth energy level, first, second, third. There are lots of vibrational energy level. Same, this is a excited state energy level. This is 1, this is 2, and so on. And every vibrational energy level is associated lots of rotational energy level. Okay, so this is all about electrons. Okay, if incoming light is interacting with electrons, so what can happen? First thing is, it can absorb that light and go to from ground state to first excited state. It can happen a phenomena that will excite an electron from ground state to excited state. It means it is an electronic transition from ground state to excited state. Okay, second point, what can happen? Second thing, that there may be a transition from ground state from a vibrational energy level to second vibrational energy level of a ground state. This is a ground state energy level, and it is associated with a lots of vibrational energy level. So it can excite an electron from its ground state energy level from 0th energy level to first excited first vibrational energy level. So this will be the vibrational transition, vibrational spectroscopy. Or what can happen? It can excite an electron from lower rotational state to higher rotational state. So this will be rotational spectroscopy, which will study rotational spectroscopy. So there are a different spectroscopy in electronic spectroscopy, vibrational or rotational. But if we are talking about molecule, we are talking about matter. Matter is a collection of nuclei or collection of electron. So it may also be interact, the incoming light may also interact with these nuclei. Okay, so interaction between nuclei, all interaction or between matter and electromagnetic radiation will depend on the property of matter and the property or the characteristic of electromagnetic radiation which is coming towards the matter. Okay, so if we are talking about the interaction between light and this nuclei, this will be nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. In nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, incoming light is interacting with a nuclei of matter, and there is happening a phenomena, that is a nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. In that phenomena, a nuclei is exciting from ground state energy level to higher excited state energy level. What will be the condition for transition of a nuclei from ground state to excited state energy level? We will discuss in detail as this module will go forward. Okay, this was all about matter and light. So how light will interact with matter. Okay, so till now we understood that there is an interaction between light matter is the spectroscopy. If we are talking about a particular interaction, that is the interaction of nuclei with incoming electromagnetic radiation, that is a nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, in which nuclei will excite from ground state to excited state. Is it clear? So what we are going to study in NMR spectroscopy, so this is the looking forward to, this is the motive of our study. How we will interact, how we will distinguish two different molecules with this technique. Okay, let me take an example, a very general example. Okay, for example, if we have a C4H8O molecule. Okay, this is a very simple example. This is a organic molecule. This has a molecular formula. It has a molecular formula C4H8O. Okay, so it has a degree of unsaturation 1. So it may be cyclic, or it may be it will have a double bond with a functional group which has a double bond character. Okay, so it may be cyclic for 4-membered ring, and finally it may be first possibility for this molecule. For this molecular formula, this is a possibility that this molecule is this type. Second, degree of unsaturation is the 1. So maybe there will be a double bond. So maybe the possibility is CS3, CS2, CS2, CHO. Third, maybe this is a molecule, or maybe this is a molecule, maybe this is a molecule, maybe this is a molecule, or maybe this is a molecule. Maybe this is a molecule. There are lots of possibility for being a molecule. This is a position isomer for this molecule 5. it has a double bond, has a at a one position, it may be at two position. Okay, so there are a possibility of that this molecule may be 1, 2, 3, 4 or maybe 5 and maybe 6 if double bond we will replace double bond at two position. Okay, these are the possibility for being a molecule C4H8O. Somehow a technique, for example, if IR spectroscopy tells okay, someone hint you that this is aldehyde. Someone hint you that this is aldehyde. This is a IR spectroscopy. IR spectroscopy will tell you that what are functional group in this molecule. So this that is a different spectroscopy. We will discuss later. So this is the C4H8O molecular formula, and someone hints you that this molecule is a aldehyde. This molecule is aldehyde. So it's mean this is not a molecule. This may be, this is not our molecule. This is not our molecule. Still we have a problem that we have two different molecular structure. So C4H8O is 2 or 3. So we need to distinguish two molecules 2 and 3 with NMR spectroscopy. NMR spectroscopy will distinguish these two molecules. How it will distinguish, we need to understand, and we will discuss in detail in this course. Okay, so that was simple example. So we are looking forward to identification of molecules based on proton nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, how NMR spectroscopy will distinguish these molecules. Okay, so this is a molecule first. Okay, so this is a molecule first. Okay, I am giving these molecules a name. This is molecule first and this is the molecule 2. Okay, same molecular formula, molecular formula is same both for both molecules. Functional group are same, carboxylic NS2, carboxylic NS2 and benzene. Okay, same functional group, same molecular formula. Still molecule first and molecule 2 are different. We need to distinguish that molecule in between. We need to distinguish molecule 1 and molecule 2. Okay, so with NMR spectroscopy we can distinguish between molecule first and molecule 2. We have, for example, we have an instrument NMR spectroscope. Okay, so we take a sample for molecule 1 and molecule 2 and we get the spectra for molecule 1 and spectra for molecule 2. What we see in spectra of 1 and 2, we see that for molecule first there is a peak, there is a signal at one position. We have a signal for molecule first. But if we talk about molecule 2, so we have a spectra. This is a spectra for molecule 2, and we also have a peak or a signal at 1. This is a chemical shift value. We will discuss what is the chemical shift. And okay, so this is a general. This is actually at this level I am building up a problem. What is the problem we will discuss in this module. Okay, what are the problems for NMR spectroscopy? What is the usefulness of NMR spectroscopy? So this is the spectra for first molecule, and this is the spectra for second molecule. So for molecule first, this we get a signal or peak at 1 ppm, at 1 chemical shift value is 1. At for molecule 2 it is also 1, but there is a difference between a peak of 1 and peak of 2. Molecule 2 What is the difference? That area under this peak, area under the peak which is we are getting at 1, area under the peak which we are getting at 1 for molecule 2, there is a area under the peak are different for molecule first and molecule second. First thing, the problem, actually what we are going to study. If we get a spectra, we need to understand what is the relation, what area under a peak will tell us about a molecule. Okay, this one point we will discuss. Okay, so this is at this point we are going to generate problems. What we will have to discuss, what we will have to understand for NMR spectroscopy. Okay, second, here we have a peak between 1 and 2, and between 1 and 2 for molecule first we don't have any signal. Okay, for molecule 2 we have 3, between 2 to 3 we have this type of signal. Here we have 3 signal, 2 signal with splitting. Okay, come at 4, it will be 3.5. At 3.5 we are getting a peak, a signal for molecule 2, but at 3.5 we didn't get any signal for molecule first. But for molecule first we have a 4+ signal. We have a signal at 4+, but we don't have any signal for molecule 2 at 4+. So NMR spectra for every molecule will be different. For every molecule will be different. So we need to understand what are the peaks, telling us, and what are how many peaks. First thing 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5, the number of peaks. What are the number of peaks, and what is the significance of number of peaks? What is the significance of splitting of in peaks, and what is the significance of the area under the peak? So these all things we will discuss. Okay. So this is the spectroscopy for this is a small molecule and this is a small molecule. We have a signal like that. This is a clear-cut structure. Clear-cut spectra. We have this this peak. We have here peak, and every peak is a individual and is a clear vision. Okay, what if we have a molecule, for example we have a molecule CS3CS2OH, a molecule, and we have a protein is a very bulky molecular formula, a very bulky molecular structure. There are lots of hydrogen. Okay, there are lots of hydrogen. Oh, you can see there is too bulky molecular structure. Okay, so this is a small molecule CS3CS2OH. If we take NMR spectra for this molecule, we will get 3 peak, 1 peak, 2 peak, and 3 peak. Okay, this is the these are the peaks for CS3CS2OH. But when we take spectra for such a large molecule, we will get this type of spectra. What is the difference between spectra of first and 2? Spectra first is a clear-cut spectra. It has a clear vision. But what in structure 2 for a protein, the spectra has lots of peak, and the chemical shift value between these peaks is so small that they are overlapping with each other. So they are overlapping with each other. It means it is impossible to us to distinguish between two different proteins. What is the reason? Because the signal are overlapping with each other. So this is the problem to understand the NMR spectroscopy for protein. Okay, so we will discuss 2D NMR. We will talk about 2D NMR spectroscopy. Nowadays 3D NMR spectroscopy. So if we want to study the structure of a protein, we need to understand the advanced level of NMR spectroscopy. So till now we are able to understand what is the NMR spectroscopy and what we are going to study in an NMR spectroscopy. I hope you are able to understand what is the NMR spectroscopy and what we are going to study for in upcoming lectures. Okay.